Okay guys, Sunday the 22nd of October and we are on Australian dollar, US dollar. So let's have a quick recap of this market from last week in relation to our Sunday analysis, and then we'll have a look at the market for the trading week ahead. Now just as we get started on this, if you do watch these videos and you find them useful, please do just take a second to hit that like button down below. It does help these videos gain a little bit of traction. It just shows me that you are finding the analysis useful. Okay, so from last week, what we went over? Well, so 2 weeks ago, we looked at the level of support and we went over how there was the potential for this market to bounce higher. Coming into last week, we went over how we were now up testing at key levels of resistance. So one of the main areas was up here, using all of these spikes down as the market broke up into this double top to identify our resistance levels, and went over how as we got up into this area we were more neutral. There was the potential for bearish price action to come back into this market, and we've also been going over how although we have came down and tested at previous key levels of support right here, there is the potential for Australian dollar to continue its bearish movement and find support lower into these levels. So this week, not a lot has changed on this market. Really, although we had a bearish movement or a strong bearish movement on Friday, for most of the week it has been relatively rangy and it didn't really go anywhere. So coming into this week, this level up here maintains as key resistance, really 7905, potentially up into 7910, down towards 7865. Happy to continue looking for weakness at these levels. Down below, we have support at this area at 7750 to 7730. Right here. If we come down into these levels, happy to look for support. If we start to break down below these levels, it becomes worthwhile looking for potential resistance and that stronger bearish movement down to test into key levels of what is now acting as support. Now, if that did happen, we'd also be a little bit careful of the MA200 on the daily time frame, which very often acts as dynamic support and resistance. You can see the market reacting off of it multiple times in the past. It's always worthwhile keeping that on your radar, especially on the higher time frames. It can be a strong reversal point. Now, if we do start to break up above this level, this is when we would start to look for the stronger bullish bounces up into really 7970 to 7980, and then potentially all the way back up into the 8000 mark and testing the previous highs at 8030 and 8070. But we need to see the break above this level first. At present, we are looking at what is potentially a double top, breaking down below and pulling back to retest the center of that double top, which very, very often happens on the charts. Now down below we also have created a level of support at 7820 to 7785. We're actually just pressing down to test at this level right now. So when you're looking at the chart like this, first of all, I'm looking at it more as though it's in a range when it's between this key level right here and this key level right here. But what you tend to find when you're in price action like this is there's also what I would call a central pivot to the price action. So whilst below this level, I'd be looking for the bearish movements back down into support, whilst above, I'd be happy to look for the bullish movements back up into the resistance level. And then apart from that, do we have anything else? The only thing I'm looking at is that double top, potentially testing. Also, much smaller pattern, potentially just creating that head and shoulders. But what you tend to find is, although we have these patterns, the main thing we're looking at is still the key level of resistance, because if we start to break up above that resistance, it's already identified as key. It would constitute the break of the head and shoulders pattern, resistance levels, and we'd still be looking for that stronger move up. If we started to break down below this level, we'd just be confirming that on the double top pattern, we'd pulled back to retest at the resistance area, and we were once again breaking down, and we would start to look for that stronger move down. Whilst in between, we are just looking at this as though in a range. Okay guys, so that is everything for this week. As always, I hope that you found that helpful. I hope you all have a good trading week next week. I'm James Orr, and thank you.